Hello, everyone. Welcome to the 31 Media podcast. My name is vaishnavi.nashte. I'm the marketing and PR manager here at 31 Media. Today's podcast is in a collaboration with the Digital Transformation Awards and the AI Summit and Awards that are coming up in 2025. These are two separate B2B events that are organized by 31 Media. So if you're interested in attending, speaking, or exhibiting your tech solutions at these events, please follow the link in the description to do so. Today, we are chatting with Mateja, who's the CEO of Red Pitaya, where she has worked for over a decade, bringing more than 20 years of experience in tech and IT. It is under her leadership that the company continues to deliver high performance computing products used by great companies all over the world. And we're so excited to have her on the podcast today. She's also written an excellent article on open source in digital transformation on the DevOps Online website. So make sure to check that out as well. So without any further ado, welcome to the podcast, Mateja. How are you today?
Hi, Vaishnavi. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm really
No worries.
excited. Thank you so
You got the
much.
pronunciation correct though, so good job.
Thank you.
Where are you joining us from today?
Sorry?
Where are you joining us from?
Oh, I'm sitting in the office, in the Red Pitaya office in Slovenia, so
Oh,
Cannes.
nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
lovely.
Slovenia. We are on the border with Italy. So,
Oh, lovely.
yeah,
What's the weather like there?
very depressing, I'm sorry to say.
Oh.
Yeah, really bad weather now for already quite some time, yeah.
Yeah, I would say I'd be jealous because usually the weather is quite summery and hot. But since we are the same in the UK today, I'm gonna be like, yeah, that's fine. I'm
Yeah,
all
it's
right
a
with
very
that.
UK weather that we're
Yeah.
having now for a while. So we're looking forward to the sunny
Yeah,
days.
same here. But before we actually get into questions, could you tell our audience a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Of course, of course. So my name is Mateja Lampe Rupnik, and
Mhm.
I am the CEO of Red Pitaya. I've been in tech for, let's say, 20 years now, working on different management positions in supply chain and finance. And I've been with Red Pitaya since its beginnings in 2013 in different roles. I took over as the CEO in 2020. And I'm not sure if your audience knows about Red Pitaya, but it's a very lovely story. So if you don't mind, I will share a quick story about the founding of our company. So basically, the story goes that Red Pitaya was launched in a company called Instrumentation Technologies, a company that designs very complex instrumentation for particle accelerators, like CERN in Switzerland, for example.
Mhm.
And in 2013, the few engineers decided to build a product, credit-sized, open source, very affordable product that would be very interesting for makers, enthusiasts, ham radio operators, and so on and so forth. The idea was to go beyond this big physics market and make a product that's interesting also for other segments.
Yeah.
They checked this product on a Kickstarter project, which was a very big success. They gathered $250,000 and they started a spin-off company. So this was in 2013. We are on the market still 11 years, very
Yeah.
successful story.
Nice. That's quite an inspiring story, especially when you mentioned CERN as well. That's very cool indeed. When I
Maybe just a few words about the product itself, because I was just talking about the company. So
yeah.
basically, the product is this small board, open source, as I said. If you connect it to your phone or to your tablet, you can get in your garage, in your office, in your class, the lab instruments that are usually, in big research labs, these big boxes, expensive and bulky. With Red Pitaya, you can get them as a software-defined instrument. So that was the
Mm.
disruption around Red Pitaya at the time. So just for your audience to understand what kind of an open source product do we have.
Thank you. Thank you for that elaboration. And since you've actually mentioned open source, I'm curious, like, how does the open source model actually foster innovation when it comes to highly technical areas like research or development? And according to you, you've been the CEO for a while now and been in management positions, but according to you, like, what are some key success stories that you've seen in this space?
Yeah, so open source was actually the main idea behind Red Pitaya. At the time when we launched our product, when the company started, the idea was to democratize science, to bring technology to people. Because by doing that, you can exponentially increase the potential for innovation. So basically, this was our DNA, and it still is like that. I mean, open source. Why open source? Because open source means community, and community means collaboration and knowledge sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Through open source, you can get this collective intelligence that can tackle a problem from very different perspectives. And the results are much better than from one person isolated in closed environment. Then one more important factor of open source, of course, is peer review, which means you have higher quality of the code because there's the community that's constantly improving and looking for improvements. And then, especially in our case, with open source, you can do your projects much faster because you don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to start from the scratch. You can build on existing community projects and even get
Absolutely.
help from community members. So this is for industry or for makers or for somebody who really wants to, I don't know, do a fantastic PhD project. An open
Mm-hmm.
source community can bring a lot. Uh,
Yeah.
then we have the factor of customization and flexibility, which is very important for research and development, because with proprietary software and hardware, you are locked in. You cannot get out of the black box, whereas open source enables you to customer software completely to your needs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the most important factor, especially in our case, we see a lot of startups that thrive on that, is the cost factor, of course. Open source means no fees, no licenses. And because of the all above mentioned factors, it also means faster time to market. So Vaishnavi, you asked me about some projects. You know, it's really exciting always to look at the social media of all the open source hardware and software providers, because there are incredible projects being built around that community. I don't know, from Christmas tree lights that dance with the music to cameras for follow wildlife and flowers that can tweet when they need water, and the imagination doesn't have limit as far as the development in the open source community goes. In our case, for example, if you check our forum of social media, you can have several hours of interesting reading. I don't know, you have projects like testing the ripeness of tomatoes. Then you have
Mm-hmm.
students building penetrating radar to detect mines or even to use it in archaeology. Then you have an artificial nose that involves some AI, and it's able to smell different smells, different gases, different, I think even different alcoholic beverages. Really fantastic, fun projects. Then you have serious projects that contribute to gender equality in STEM, for example, a very important
Mm-hmm.
topic. We had a group of Japanese high school girls, not
Mm-hmm.
university, but high school girls, very young girls, who made a project involving cosmic ray detection. Cosmic ray
Wow.
detection, a very complex project, especially for this age group. The girls won CERN competition with this project, and they will do the tests with their system in CERN, in most prominent particle accelerator. Just think what impact this has on these young ladies.
Yeah.
Then we have, I don't know, yes, students, universities. Then we have serious institutes like NASA. In our case, for example, our products are being used in the project where they build the next generation of helicopter for Mars. And open source technology is involved also in such prominent institutions like NASA. Then, if we're talking about space, we have a story that involves research group, physics students and professor who build a radiation detector, sent it with SpaceX Falcon to International Space Station, and it actually sends data in real time to Oklahoma University for them to do the analytics.
There's
Then
absolutely no limit today, isn't it, when it comes to open source? There's no
I mean, there's
limitation
no
at
limit.
all.
We can sit here the whole evening and I can tell you
So many
incredible
success
stories.
stories.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. Also, we
But
have projects in nuclear fusion that which require very reliable real-time data streaming
yeah,
and analysis. So these are very complex segments already. Not to mention quantum. I would really like to tell you some projects about quantum, but quantum, I'm very humble around it because it's a very complex segment to understand. But quantum computing is also a big user of open source technology.
yeah. And of course, like a lot of companies in today's day and age, they're focusing so much more on sustainability, right? With whatever their initiatives are and the way they're even building their tech solutions, there's a lot of focus on sustainability. How do you think open source hardware and software can actually contribute, when it comes to sustainable solutions and to actually help tackle issues such as climate change?
Yeah, I mean, sustainability, of course, is a very important topic, and especially when it comes to climate change. I mean,
Yeah.
just open the news in the evening and you get bombarded with bad news. So definitely, this is a field where we will have to find some solutions to solve whatever is there to be solved still. In our experience, what we believe is that these solutions will not come from corporate giants, but from small disruptive companies who are not
Right.
caught up, in those bureaucratic processes and red tapes, and who are not influenced or even regulated by different lobbies.
Mm-hmm.
So we see quite a lot of startups doing very interesting research in these directions. But for the startups, of course, a very important and paramount factor is to get funded. And to
Mm-hmm.
do that successfully, they need to convince the investors with a working
Absolutely.
MVP or a prototype. And it needs to be in time, within time, and within budget. And I think that open source can be a big help here. Open source together with the community. There is a very successful startup in US. I think they have collected around $50 million, if I'm not mistaken. And
Mm-hmm.
till now, they are developing a very novel technology. So basically, it's a laser network system that will, for the first time, enable continuous detection of methane leakage. So a very important sustainability topic, actually. So their product is based on open source technology, which enabled them to have a working prototype very fast and within budget. Yeah. Most
Right.
importantly, by choosing high quality open source
Mm-hmm.
tools, they did not compromise the quality and they still managed to get the high precision they needed. So basically, startups plus open source. This is, I think, where the real disruption and the real improvement in sustainability will come. And then when we talk about sustainability and open source. Open source does have an important impact also on underrepresented regions.
Right.
So basically, because it offers the accessibility which they don't have also from the financial point of view. For example, we know about a project in Namibia, which is also involving our product. These projects ensures the safety of wildlife, such as the lions. Basically, it prevents human-wildlife conflicts without harming the animals. A very, very nice project. And then I know of other projects, not necessarily involving our product, but still in open source, where projects that help to monitor air quality in Africa, forests, monitoring forest fires in Amazon, monitor and manage water quality in Kenya, and so on and so forth. So I think, yes, I mean, for open source, it makes a huge difference in how we will solve our sustainability problems in the future. This is how we see it from our use cases.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, I'm so glad that you covered the aspect of disruptive startups and disruptive technologies as well, because there are such fresh ideas that have been brought to the table these days, and they're solving such huge challenges across the world. So thank you for like mentioning more about that. We have a few minutes left, but I have one more question for you, which is perhaps one of the most important ones. But how do you see the role of open source hardware and software evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, if you had to answer this question briefly, what would that be for you?
I will be a big idealist here. I think that open source will be solving very important problems for us. We all have now these issues in, for example, medical system, not enough people in medical in healthcare, not enough people in education. Nobody wants to be a teacher anymore. I think open source plus some AI combination, I think this is the future, and I see future very positive in that respect. It's a little bit idealistic answer, but I really see a great potential in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, AI itself is like people have been using it in so many different projects, and sure, people have been very scared of it as well, taking away jobs and all of that. Like they're scared about it. But like artificial intelligence itself is so useful in so many different scenarios,
Yeah,
especially myself working in marketing, it has so many different use cases, isn't it?
yeah,
Which is
yeah,
why like even with our upcoming summit that we have on AI, we're planning to cover like a lot of different workshops where people are going to talk about these use cases. So it's going to be quite interesting to even see the
yeah.
projects that actually win the award. So yeah, thank you for mentioning that as well.
Hey, we have to see the future positive. That's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And lastly, I just want to say thank you, Mateja, for coming on the podcast and sharing all of your great insights with our audience. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Vishna. Thank you for inviting me, and bye.